Hey everyone. I never thought I'd be the kind of guy typing out a novel on a relationship advice subreddit, but here I am. I 36 meters have been married to my wife, Jenna 3 for F, for almost 8 years. We've had what I thought was a solid relationship, nothing perfect, obviously, but we communicated well, shared finances, planned vacations, and even talked about having kids next year. I trusted her completely, like the kind of trust where you'd hand someone your phone unlocked and not think twice. The last 6 months have felt off. That's the best word for it. Nothing huge at first, just tiny things that didn't sit right. She started going out with coworkers more. New clothes, sudden effort with makeup just to run errands. And she practically glued her phone to her hand. I'd wake up at night and see the glow of the screen while she was texting someone. And when I asked who, she'd say, work stuff, go back to sleep. I didn't want to be that husband, the paranoid one, the insecure one, but my gut was whispering something wasn't right. And over the next few weeks, that whisper got louder. The more I paid attention, the more things stopped adding up. Jenna suddenly had a girls' night every Thursday. Thing is, she's never really had close girlfriends. She's always said she connects better with guys. But every Thursday she was out until midnight, sometimes later, coming home smelling like perfume she didn't own. If I asked how it went, she'd give these vague one-sentence answers like, "It was fine." "Why are you being weird?" And then immediately change the subject. Her phone was the biggest shift. She used to leave it on the couch, on the counter, in the bathroom. Suddenly, it was on silent, face down, locked with a new passcode. If it buzzed, she'd hit the button before the screen lit up. Once, I picked it up just to move it off the coffee table before setting down dinner, and she practically sprinted across the room and snatched it from my hand, saying, "Don't mess with my stuff." I tried telling myself I was imagining things. I even brought it up gently one night, told her she seemed distant, and asked if something was bothering her. She looked me straight in the eye and said, "You're overthinking. Stop trying to create problems." But the more she insisted nothing was wrong, the more obvious it became that something definitely was. The moment things shifted from suspicion to certainty came on a random Tuesday. Jenna had left for work like normal, but about an hour later she called saying she forgot an important file and needed to grab it. I happened to be working from home, so I figured I'd surprise her, have it ready at the door. Maybe give her a kiss, try to reconnect a little. We'd been distant, and I was trying. She pulled into the driveway fast, way too fast for someone who just ran home for paperwork. The second she stepped inside, she wasn't even looking at me. She was laser focused on her phone. She grabbed the charger off the counter, plugged it in, and bam, her lock screen lit up. I didn't mean to stare, but the notification was just right there. Last night was amazing. Same time Thursday. My stomach dropped so fast I thought I was going to pass out. She saw my eyes freeze and whipped the phone out of my hands before I even fully processed. What did I read? Her face went pale, then bright red, defensive, angry. "What the hell? Why are you staring at my phone?" she snapped. I just stood there and said, "Who's messaging you that?" She didn't answer. She just grabbed her bag and left again. No explanation, no eye contact. Like if she walked out fast enough, reality wouldn't follow her. That was the moment I knew I wasn't crazy. Something was happening. Something big. After that message, something inside me switched from confused to determined. I wasn't going to live in limbo with half answers and gaslighting. 2 days later, Jenna had another one of her girls' nights, but instead of sitting home feeling sick, I decided to do something I never thought I'd do. I checked our shared phone bill online. We have a family plan and the logs don't lie. There it was, one number, showing hundreds of texts and calls. Morning, lunch break, midnight. Constant. It wasn't a coworker and it definitely wasn't a friend. And the timestamps lined up perfectly with the nights she went out, the late night texting, the sudden secrecy. I screenshotted everything and saved it to my laptop. That same night, when she finally came home past 1 a.m., she looked surprised that I was awake. She smelled like a mix of cologne and a bar. I asked calmly, "Did you have fun with the girls?" She blinked too fast, forced a laugh, and said, "Yeah, of course. We went dancing." "Why are you still up?" That was the first real lie she told to my face, where I absolutely knew it was a lie. I didn't confront her yet. I wanted the full picture before anything blew up. So the next morning, while she showered, her smartwatch lit up on the dresser. Same unknown number. Last night was perfect. Miss you already. She came out of the shower and saw me holding the watch. You'd think someone caught cheating would break down or panic, but she just scoffed and said, "It's not what you think. Don't start drama." That's when I realized she wasn't just hiding something, she was preparing to deny everything, even if I handed her proof in a folder. After the smartwatch incident, I knew confronting her without undeniable proof would just end in more lies and deflection. She was committed to pretending nothing was happening, even when the evidence was practically glowing on her wrist. So I made a plan. I wasn't proud of it, but I started paying attention to everything. When she left, what time she got home, what excuses she gave, the number she kept messaging. I even reverse searched the guy's number. He wasn't a co-worker. He wasn't a childhood friend. He was a personal trainer at a gym she hated and supposedly never went to. So the next Thursday night, when she left wearing a dress she definitely didn't own 3 months ago, I waited 10 minutes, got in my car, and drove toward the gym. And there they were, her car parked behind the building, tucked in the back like they were hiding from the world. I didn't see them, but I didn't have to. The location, the messages, the sudden wardrobe changes, it all pointed to the same answer. Still, I wanted something concrete, so I took a photo of her car in that hidden spot and went home. I sat on the couch with my heart beating out of my chest, waiting for her to come back, rehearsing what I'd say. Anger, sadness, disbelief, they all tangled together until I felt numb. When she finally walked through the door after midnight, smiling at her phone like a teenager sneaking out after curfew, I knew the confrontation was coming soon. I didn't blow up the second she walked in. I thought I'd shout, throw questions at her, demand the truth, but instead, I felt cold, tired, detached. She tossed her purse on the counter and headed to the fridge like nothing was wrong. I just said her name, calm and flat. "Jenna, we need to talk." She froze, hand halfway to a water bottle, like she knew exactly what was coming. "What now?" She sighed, already defensive. "If this is about me going out, I'm allowed to have a light." "I know you're not with friends," I said. "I know who you're seeing." She blinked, then crossed her arms. "You're being paranoid again. You always do this when you're stressed. You invent problems." I didn't respond. I just opened my laptop and turned the screen toward her. Phone records logs of calls, text counts, the picture of her car behind the gym. Her face went completely still, then twisted into something angry, like I was the one who betrayed her. "You've been spying on me," she snapped. "That's insane. That's controlling." "Who is he?" I asked. She rolled her eyes and said, "Just a friend." "You're reading too much into nothing." Even with the proof in front of her, she clung to the lie like it was oxygen. And somehow, that denial hurt more than the cheating itself, because it meant she didn't respect me enough to even tell a convincing lie. I said, "I saw your messages." Her jaw clenched. She finally realized she couldn't talk her way around it. Then she whispered, "It wasn't serious." That was the moment everything broke. When she said it wasn't serious, I genuinely didn't know whether to laugh or scream. 8 years together, building a lie, planning a future, yet somehow the betrayal was supposed to feel smaller, because she labeled it not serious. I asked how long. She stared at the floor and muttered a few months, which, in cheating language, always means longer. Then came the excuses, fast, rehearsed, like she'd been preparing them. "We were fighting a lot. You've been distant. I just needed attention. It just happened." She never once said she was sorry. Not once. It was all about how she felt, what she was missing, why it wasn't her fault. Every explanation was basically a way of saying, "If you were better, I wouldn't have done this." I told her I would have gone to counseling, talked, changed routines, anything. She just shrugged and said, "I didn't think you'd care." That sentence hit harder than anything else. I didn't think you'd care. After nearly a decade of loving someone, that's what she believed. She finally admitted the guy was a trainer from a gym across town. She said he understood her and made her feel seen. She acted like she was writing poetry instead of explaining an affair. And the worst part, while she talked, she didn't look sad or guilty. She looked annoyed, like I was an inconvenience for asking questions about my own marriage. That was when I realized this wasn't a mistake to her, it was something she felt entitled to. I wish I could say I stayed calm, but I didn't. Something in me snapped when she rolled her her eyes mid-explanation like my pain was boring her. I wasn't screaming, but my voice cracked in that way where you hear yourself and realize you're already breaking. I said, "You threw away our marriage for someone you met at a gym you supposedly hate." She shot back, "Don't be dramatic. It's not like I was going to leave you." That line hit like a punch. She wanted the marriage, the stability, the home, and him too. A double life. I asked if she still planned to see him. She didn't even hesitate, just said, "I don't know. I need space to think." Space. After months of lies, she wanted space. So I told her to grab a bag and stay somewhere else for the night. Not forever. I just needed room to breathe without looking at someone who could lie that easily. She refused at first, said it was her house too, said I was being childish. But when I picked up my keys and said I'd leave instead, she finally packed a small bag. No tears. No apology. Just annoyance, like she was being forced to cancel plans. She left without saying goodbye, and the moment the door shut behind her, the silence hit me like a wave. I sat on the living room floor and felt everything at once. Anger, fear, grief, numbness. Not because she was gone, but because the person I thought she was had never actually been real. That night was the longest of my life. I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Every time I shut my eyes, I saw her face calm, irritated, almost offended that I would dare confront her about her choices. I kept replaying every memory of the past year, trying to spot where things shifted, wondering how I missed it. Around 3 a.m., my phone buzzed. A single text from her. "I'm at a friend's. Don't make this bigger than it is." No apology, no remorse, just minimization. The next morning, I called my best friend and told him everything. Saying it out loud made it real in a way the screenshots never could. He told me to come stay at his place for a few days just to clear my head. I grabbed a duffel bag and left our home feeling like a stranger in my own life. That day, I realized how quickly everything can collapse. One moment, you're planning vacations and future kids. The next, you're driving with a suitcase and shaking hands, replaying the words "it wasn't serious." Like that somehow makes the betrayal smaller. I thought I'd feel relieved being away from her, but honestly, it hurt worse. Because distance made one thing very clear. This wasn't a mistake she got swept up in. She chose it. She protected it. She lied to create space for it. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. 2 days into staying at my friend's place, Jenna finally called. Not to apologize. Not to ask how I was. Just, "We need to talk." So we met at a coffee shop. It was neutral territory, public, and frankly, I didn't trust myself to keep my emotions in check anywhere else. She sat down across from me like this was a business meeting, not our marriage. I asked again, "How long has this been going on?" This time she didn't bother sugarcoating it. Almost a year. A year, while we were planning our anniversary trip. While we were talking about trying for a baby, while she kissed me goodbye every morning, and she said it casually, like it was a scheduling detail. She told me he was someone who made her feel appreciated, and that she didn't think it was hurting anyone. She actually said that as if hiding an entire relationship behind my back wasn't hurting me. I asked her if she loved him. She shrugged and said, "I don't know. Maybe. But I don't want to throw away our life either." So there it was. She wanted both. She wanted me for stability and him for excitement. She wanted to control all the pieces like nothing had changed. I told her that's not how marriage works. She stared at me like I was being unreasonable. Then came the line that sealed it. "You're overreacting." Everyone makes mistakes. No remorse. No guilt. Just the expectation I'd tolerate it. That's the moment something inside me finally shut off. All the begging for answers, all the confusion, all the trying to understand her mindset, it just went quiet. Because there's a difference between someone who messed up and someone who doesn't care that they did. After that conversation, I felt like I had been hit by a truck mentally and emotionally. I drove home that evening in silence, just staring at the road, going through every memory, every laugh, every argument, every quiet moment we shared. I couldn't reconcile the woman I knew with the one who casually admitted to a year of cheating. The next few days were a whirlwind of emotions, anger. I wanted to scream, throw things, make her feel even a fraction of the betrayal I felt. Sadness, every little habit, every inside joke, every shared moment now felt tainted, like I'd been living in a lie. Confusion, How could she do this for so long without a shred of guilt? Relief, a strange, tiny sense of clarity. At least now I knew. I wasn't chasing ghosts or imagining things. I spent hours pacing, staring at the ceiling, and rereading the messages and screenshots. At one point, I even cried, something I haven't done in years. I felt naive, stupid, and broken all at once. And yet, somewhere in that chaos, a small, quiet voice inside me said, "You deserve better than someone who treats you like an option." I didn't talk to her again for a week. I needed space to process before I could make a rational decision. The thought of hearing another excuse, another lie, or that dismissive tone made my chest tighten. I realized how exhausting it is to love someone who refuses to be accountable. By the end of the week, I knew one thing for sure. Whatever decision I made next would define not just our marriage, but my own self-respect. After a week of soul-searching, I finally made my decision. I told Jenna we needed to meet this time at home, where the reality of our life together couldn't be ignored. I was calm, deliberate, and firm. "I can't do this anymore," I said. "I can't stay married to someone who treats our life like a backup plan. I love you, I did love you, but this isn't something we can fix by just trying harder." She tried her usual tactics, rolling her eyes, saying I was overreacting, trying to charm me into staying. But this time, I didn't flinch. I showed her the messages, the call logs, the photos. She didn't argue. She didn't deny. She just saw it, like my breaking point was inevitable. I told her I wanted a separation, nothing hostile, just clear boundaries. She protested, said she didn't want to leave, that we could fix it if we tried. I listened, nodded politely, but my mind was already made up. We agreed on practicalities, living arrangements, finances, and no contact for a while. It hurt like hell to see her packing her things, to hear the slam of the door, to watch her drive away one last time. But at the same time, I felt something I hadn't felt in months: relief. The weight of constant suspicion, betrayal, and lies was finally off my shoulders. For the first time in years, I felt like I could breathe. The first few weeks after she left were brutal. I'd wake up in the middle of the night, expecting her to be there, and then reality would hit like a punch to the gut. I went through stages I didn't expect: denial, maybe she'll come back, maybe she didn't mean it, anger. I wanted to text her, confront her, scream at her, let her feel some of the chaos she caused. Sadness. The quiet apartment felt massive. Every corner reminded me of her, of us, of the life I thought we were building. Reflection. Slowly, I started to think about myself, my boundaries, and what I actually deserved in a partner. I threw myself into work, friends, and running. Literally ran until my legs hurt, just to get some clarity. I journaled every night, writing down my feelings, my anger, my memories, and even my doubts. I realized that healing wasn't about forgetting or forgiving immediately. It was about reclaiming my sense of self. Friends checked in constantly, and one conversation hit me hard. "You can't control what she did. You can only control how you respond." That line stuck. I realized I had been carrying her actions inside me like a poison, letting them define me. But now, I was starting to understand that the next chapter wasn't about her, it was about me. A couple of months in, I finally felt like I was reaching some kind of closure, not because she apologized or changed, but because I stopped waiting for that to happen. I didn't see her again, and honestly, I didn't want to. I deleted her from social media, blocked her number, and let our shared routines dissolve. At first, it felt harsh, but it was necessary. I needed space to rebuild my life without her shadow hanging over everything. I also realized something crucial. The betrayal wasn't just about the affair, it was about trust. And once trust is broken, that completely, no amount of explanations or excuses can repair it. I let go of the fantasy of a reconciliation and focused on things I could control: my career, my friendships, my hobbies, my mental health. Slowly, little moments of happiness returned. I laughed more freely, slept better, and even looked forward to weekends without dread. Most importantly, I started trusting myself again, trusting my instincts, my feelings, and my judgment. I realized closure isn't something someone else gives you, it's something you take. You reclaim your own story, your own life, and your own peace. Looking back, I've learned more about myself and relationships than I ever expected. Here's the hard truth: love alone isn't enough to sustain a marriage. Trust, respect, honesty, they're the foundation. And once those are gone, no amount of shared history can replace them. I've also learned that sometimes people show you who they really are in ways that are impossible to ignore. ignore. It's painful to see it firsthand, but it's better to face reality than live in denial. The affair wasn't my fault. My instincts weren't wrong. And ultimately, my decision to leave was about protecting my own well-being. To anyone going through something similar, don't let shame or fear keep you in a situation where you're disrespected. Gather the facts, take your time, process your emotions, and trust yourself to make the decision that honors your worth. Closure won't come from the person who hurt you, it comes from within. I still carry the scars, but they remind me that I survived something brutal and came out stronger. I know now that I deserve honesty, respect, and partnership, and I won't settle for anything less. That's all. Click the like button, subscribe to this channel, and have a good day, everyone.